Soil and coastline erosion are something that many European countries and of course African countries are having to look at. With the global warming and the rising of the sea, we see more and more shorelines just disappearing. On Bonaire we have a particularly high coast, and erosion, of course, along this windward coast here would be something that we'd have to take into consideration. But what we're going to show you this morning is something far faster than any kind of natural erosion, something that we're actually doing to ourselves. Soil erosion is one factor, and losing our flora and fauna is a very different story. And we're going to take a look at that right now. There's a great saying that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some may look at this and say, well, it's just barren. Actually, it's particularly beautiful. And you have to understand Bonaire as a living planet before you can really understand what's happening here. The island both drinks and breathes. These holes in the ground actually hold rainwater, which goes straight into our water table and back along to the coast. Take a look at how she breathes. It might be quite difficult to understand that an island might breathe, but actually it does. And it doesn't breathe air, it breathes everything that's around it. This behind me is not the landfill. This is part of a beautiful, pristine coastline. And what they've been burning here is electronical hardware. This plastic that you see there that's been on fire, when it burns, produces toxins which are so harmful. If you're in close proximity, you'll definitely be sick from it. But even if you're miles away from the prevailing wind, you can still suffer from the really damaging consequences of breathing these dioxins, breathing these pollutants in. And of course the animal life that lives around here is also affected by what you see behind me. This is quite tragic. That's lead from a burnt battery. This is a prime example of Bonaire's delicate natural balance. What you see around me, this beautiful fauna and this amazing ecosystem. This fauna thriving actually now from the rainwater that settles here. It really is very beautiful. Of course, on the coastline, we are experiencing some erosion. Maybe we'll lose a metre over 1,000 years. This is in the balance, and this is what we're doing. Take a look. Mankind's clock is running fast. Some of these coral heads are 65 million years old. It didn't take us minutes to plough this ground up for the rocks to put in our garden and to build with. Our respect for the dead is nicely shown. They've dug around it. Unfortunately, our respect for the living planet is also nicely shown. In terms of the global clock, mankind is definitely the fastest species to destroy himself. There's no doubt about that. Beautiful and delicate, yet robust enough to survive the ocean spray and the salt water. Its name, Bulbe. The translation, it won't come back. Over a period of some time, perhaps 1,000, perhaps 5,000 years, these huge rocks behind me were actually thrown by the ocean up there where they sit today. This coral head has taken and been here for some 65, 60 million years. It's so delicate, almost like living veins, sat there as a reminder of how fast the human clock is really ticking. This coastline provides a natural barrier for the frontline fauna behind me. As we lose it, we don't just lose a coastline, we lose our first barrier of defence. And maybe it won't take 1,000 years for rocks as big as that to be moved even further back into the island. We're around about halfway through our 13-kilometre journey along that coastline that we pointed out. And so far, what we see is a lot of destruction around us. Let's go and see what the other half of the journey has to offer. 13 kilometres, nearly at our journey's end. And it looks like the end of this destruction. But no, it actually goes further. Once you start to see this little island as a living creature, and I see the life right there in front of me, then it's very easy to understand how we're killing part of it. This is a classic example of the edge of life and death. A living, breathing island. And now I'm going to show you why she's finding it difficult to breathe. A living, breathing island. Just look how quickly the dust and the dirt has blocked up the very arteries of this tiny island on this coastline, where its delicate ecosystem allows rainwater to flow through, allows these little plants to grip at life, and how fast we've destroyed it. Funny thing is, the destruction that we've shown you there, you could call it destruction for construction. The government are fully aware of its being going on, and also they're aware of the people who are doing it. And in many ways, we might have to say it's an acceptable fact of progress and change for the island. But do the people really know what they're losing? Do they really know the value of what they're quickly throwing away? That's questionable. And we hope with the aid of this film, you'll be able to make your own minds up.